Hello everyone, I am Piyush Goyal and I welcome you to Voxcel's YouTube channel. So in this video we're gonna discuss about academic book 20th third test reading passage 3. So we have already discussed passage 1 and passage 2. If you haven't seen those videos, you can watch them after watching this video. But right now focus on this. So without further delay, let's start. Passage 3. So this passage deals with robots and us. So basically they are trying to say how those robot and people link or can link. Let's see. Three leaders in the field answer questions about our relationships with robots. So this passage we will have three different people, okay, and they are leaders in their field, basically experts in their field, and they are answering questions about our relationships with robots, like what kind of relationships humans have with robots, uh, or maybe things like that. So we don't have to worry too much about that, but will be in the paragraph. When we will read it, we will get to know about that. But if you have watched my previous video, you should know that our pattern is we just read the heading and subheading at most. We do not read the passage just yet. What we do is we go straight to the questions. So first question set is question number 27 to 33. We have to match each statement with the correct expert A, B or C. And the important thing to note here is that you may have to use any letter more than once. So obviously there are three experts A, B and C, or list of experts: Martin Rees, Daniel Wolpert, Kathleen Richardson. And the number of questions are 7, I believe. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 questions. So obviously every alphabet is going to repeat, most probably is going to repeat. Maybe one alphabet is only once and other are repeated twice and or more than twice. Okay, so we don't know just about that, but most probably every alphabet will be repeated at least twice and one will be repeated thrice. So but again we are not so sure about that it will happen. So but I will have a roughly a guess about this. So and we'll see the next set of questions. Just let me first adjust this particular thing, it's bothering me. Okay. So next question, next set of question is again we have to complete the correct each sentence with the correct ending, and for that ending we have to match basically Richardson, Rees, Wolpert, Richardson. So I think yeah, these are the experts. So again we have to do something about find information about experts. Okay, and last set we have MCQs again, or Richardson, fear about machine, Rees and Wolpert, Richardson about reality. Again, it's they are about experts. So all the questions have people in it. So we have to focus on the information at hand. What kind of information is given to us here? So what we're gonna do is first, or basically we'll see wherever this particular, let's just say we are reading this paragraph and we come across any of the three experts, Rees, Wolpert or Richardson. So we will try to do is whenever you have to match list of experts, most of the time almost always your answer will be in the inverted commas. So whenever we will read those inverted commas or their opinions, we will read the entire like these 7 questions, and we will also read these 3 questions. Okay, similarly with these. So because every question has some sort of name in it, so we'll see what kind of information we have to find for every question. Because for example, if I talk about 34 to 36, here there are two names given, Richardson and Rees. So they are similar things. So in like whichever, for whatever like alphabet both experts agree, will mark that answer. Similarly, there is share an opinion, basically agreement, and this person this question deals with disagreement. Here is saying Richardson about fear of machine, something like that. Rees potential advance, C as for concern, and Wolpert emphasized in his response to the question about science fiction, and Richardson about reality and fantasy. So there are like quite, this is quite an interesting reading or question set you can say, because every question is gonna deal with the person. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna read the paragraph first, and then we'll see if we can find any questions. Other thing you can do is you can just read these questions, and you, it will help you to create some sort of map in your mind that what kind of information you're gonna find. So we will read the questions first. For our own safety, humans will need to restrict the abilities of robots. So here they are saying, okay, sorry about that. Here they are saying, for our own safety, humans, we have to restrict ability of robots. So if maybe if an expert is saying that because we robots may be danger to may pose danger to human beings if they get out of control, so we have to restrict their abilities of what they can do or what they cannot do. So we will mark that particular expert as an answer. The risk of robot harming us is less serious than humans believe to it to be. So the risk is less, okay, than believe. Then we believe it is less than that. It will take many decades for robot intelligence to be as imaginative as human intelligence. So it will take many decades for robots to be equal to humans. We may have to start considering whether we are treating robot fairly. So consider robots, treat robots fairly. So if you are giving them or doing justice to them or things like that. Robots are probably of more help to us on earth than in space. So robots more help earth than space. So basically we should use robots to make earth a better place to live rather than using them in space to find new planets or things like that. The ideas in high quality science fiction may prove to be just as accurate as those found in work of mediocre scientists. So here they are comparing fiction with scientists. There are those who look forward to robots developing greater intelligence. So there are people who look forward to robots developing greater intelligence. Meaning to say, there are people who see it as a positive development, like if robots become more intelligent, they develop better intelligence, like think on their own or things like that, whatever that greater intelligence may be, they are happy that robots can do that, and they are optimistic about their development. So that's why they are looking forward towards to it. Now what we will do is we will go straight to the paragraph. When asked, should robots be used to colonize other planets, cosmology and astrophysics professor Martin Rees, so here is the first person, said he believed the solar system would be mapped by robotic craft by the end of the century. So what he believes that robots will make like a Google map of the craft, space, basically solar system. Let me mark it. Robots will make a Google map type thing of solar system. The next step would be mining of asteroids, enabling fabrication of large structures in space without having to bring all the raw materials from Earth. So then we will be mining asteroids, fabricating structures in space without using raw materials from Earth. I think this is more realistic than and benign than terraforming of planets. So what is terraforming? Okay, let me do this. So, what is terraforming? Terraforming is modifying a planet's atmosphere to suit human needs. So, we're trying to change the atmosphere of a planet so that we can live or make it habitable. I think this is more realistic and benign. Okay, he maintains that colonized planets should be preserved with the status that it is analogous to Antarctica here on Earth. So, what he believes that we should not destroy other planets, they should preserve the status like we have given to Antarctica here on Earth. These colonized planets should also have such kind of status. Let's see if Rees said something like any of these questions. For our own safety, humans will need to restrict the ability of robots. No, Rees is so there is no mention of that we should stop robots from developing too much. The risk of robots harming us is less serious than mentioned. No, there is no mention about that. Uh, it will take many decades for robot intelligence to be as imaginative as human. Nothing about that. We may have to start considering whether we are treating robots fairly. Okay, there is nothing about that. Robots are probably more help to us on Earth than in space. Here they have mentioned about space and Earth, but don't get confused. Here the question is saying robots are of more use to us on Earth than in space. But here they are just saying they will mine asteroids, they will map the solar system, they will not we will not need to carry raw materials from Earth. But there is no comparison like whether robots are better suited like to serve us on Earth or in space. It is not mentioned here. The ideas in high quality science fiction may prove to be there is nothing about fiction movies or something like that. There are those who look forward to robots developing. There is nothing mentioned like that. People are looking forward to the development, something like that. So in the first paragraph, we don't have any answers like that. So what we can do is we can find Martin Rees in the next set of questions. Richardson, okay, Richardson and Rees. So let's see what he expressed similar. So his Rees, we know about Rees. Rees views are that the planet should be preserving the same status as this. Let's see. Robots are to explore outer space. Advanced, yes, they are saying that he is saying Rees is saying that robots will explore outer space. They will map out the whole solar system. Advances made in machine intelligence so far, nothing about that. Changes made to other planets for our own benefit. Okay, sorry, I have not at the entire question. Richardson and Rees express similar views regarding the ethical aspect of. So for this question, we need to look at the ethical aspect. So here he is saying this is the ethical aspect. Basically from here to here. So I think this is more realistic and benign than terraforming. He maintains that colonized planets should be preserved with the status that is analogous to Antarctica here on Earth. So we should not do or we should not change other planets because it is not a good thing to do, and we should give them like secured or protected status like we give Antarctica. So changes made to others, so we should have some ethical aspect of, we should consider some ethical aspect of doing this. So here I will write, because I don't know about the Richardson yet, so I cannot say for sure. So what I will do is we will just do this question 34 1, because this is of Rees. We have just first part first, or I'll write one of two. Okay, so let's see what Richardson has to say. We have just found out about Rees. Okay, next paragraph. Rees, here is Rees also. Rees and Wolpert share an opinion about the extent of. Let's see what kind of extent they are talking about, or what kind of opinion they are referring to here. Robots to explore outer space. maybe because they are used, he's saying robots is going to share the outer space. Advances made in machine intelligence, so far we don't know about that. Sorry about that. Changes made to other planets for our own benefit, we have done that. The harm already done by artificial intelligence, so we don't know about that yet. So it may be for the Reese part that robots are gonna explore the outer space. So for this, I will do is here, from here to here. It could be, I'm not so sure again. I'm saying the same thing, 35. I'm gonna just write it 1 of 2. And I will just this. Okay, so if it is not the answer, we will cancel it out. But if it is, so we have found the location. So just I'm gonna tentatively write the option that I believe it could have been. So for this, C option, and for this, A option. So these are tentative options. That's why I have not like colored it red or bold it. So let's move forward without wasting too much time. Let's see if we have Rees. Potential advances, does Rees cause concern? There is no mention of concern here. Okay, so we have read everything there is to read about these questions. Next paragraph. One of the question of using robots to colonize other planets and exploit mineral resources, engineering professor Daniel Wolpert replied. So here is about our second professor Daniel Wolpert. So I'll just do it with yellow. Okay, this is the different professor, so we will change the color, I guess, so that we can easily mark it. Let's do this. Engineering professor replied, I don't see a pressing need to colonize other planets unless we can bring these resources back to Earth. So he is saying that he doesn't see like any benefit of colonizing other planets until we can bring back those resources found on those planets back on our Earth. The vast majority of Earth is currently inaccessible to us. So the vast majority of Earth, it's basically inaccessible to us. We cannot use this. Using robots to gather resources nearer to home would seem to be a better use of robotic tools. And if we use robots like nearer to home, basically on Earth, it would seem to be a better use of robotic tools. So from here to here, if you read these, does this ring any bell? Okay, so I will give you 5 seconds. So does this ring any bell in any of the questions? Time's up. The answer is question number 31. So Professor Daniel Wolpert, B. So in this question, he is saying the statement is saying that robots are probably more help to us on Earth than space. He is also saying that it's better to use robots nearer to home. So nearer to home just means on Earth. I hope it is clear. Next question. Oh, sorry. Next, let's see Daniel Wolpert. So where it is written Daniel Wolpert, Richardson, Rees, Wolpert. So we have done Rees. Now we're gonna see Wolpert. Share an opinion. So robots to explore outer space. No, he is not sharing this opinion. In fact, he is opposing this opinion. He is saying that it's better if we use robots to explore near our home. Basically, if we use robots to explore Earth rather than using robots to explore the outer space. So, in no way or form, he is sharing this opinion. So, obviously, A can, sorry about that. A cannot be our answer. A cannot be the answer. So we will delete it afterwards. So A is not the answer for this particular question. Let's see if we can come across any other option from this particular paragraph. Advances made in machine intelligence so far, nothing about that. Changes made, okay, this is a 34th. If it is has to be Wolpert, doesn't say anything like that. Harm already done by artificial intelligence, no. So right now we are not sure about anything, so we will, what we will do, we will move forward. Okay, what we will again do is it's Wolpert. So I believe there was question regarding Wolpert. What does Wolpert emphasize in his response to the question about science fiction? So we haven't read anything about science fiction just yet. So we don't know whether the answer is what the answer to this could be. So what we do is we will move to the next paragraph. So this is not our answer, just we will strike it off for the time being and I will delete it afterwards. Okay, we will delete it because we are sure that it is not our answer. Okay, meanwhile for anthropology professor Kathleen Richardson, so this is our person. So let me mark the person again in this color. Okay, let me mark in this color so that I can easily identify the names where the names are written at least. Okay, Professor Kathleen Richardson. The idea of colonization of other planets seemed morally dubious. So again, this person is not in favor of colonizing other planets. I think whether we do something on Earth or on Mars, we should always do it in the spirit of genuine interest in the other, not to impose a particular model, but to meet the other. So this person, she is saying that if we want to do something even on Earth or on Mars, it doesn't matter. We should do in the spirit of a genuine interest in the other. So basically to find something and not to impose our beliefs, our set of particular models on the other, but to meet the other. Okay, so let's see if there is anything like that. For our own safety, humans will need to restrict the ability of robots. There is no mention of this particular thing. The risk of robots harming us is less serious than humans believe it to be. There is no mention of this. It will take many decades for robot intelligence to be as no. We may have to start considering whether we're treating robots fairly. We do, there is nothing mentioned like this in this paragraph. At least the ideas in the in high quality science fiction, there is nothing about movies. There are those who look forward to robots developing greater intelligence, nothing about like what people want to do in the future, see in the future. Okay, let's see Richardson. Here is the Richardson express similar views regarding. Let's see what is the view. Robots to explore the outer space. See changes made to the foreign. Yes, this person is also against the changes made to the other planets because she thinks that it would be morally dubious. Okay, so green color. This is our location. So let me copy from here. Okay, so we can now definitely say that the answer to this would be C. Clear, because both persons feel that we should not colonize other planets for our own benefit. Here he is also saying that it is more benign than terraforming, so we should preserve other planets with the status that is analogous to Antarctica here on Earth. So Catherine is also saying that, sorry, Kathleen is also saying that it is morally dubious. So 34th C option. Okay, let's see if Richardson fear of machines. But here is nothing about, okay, sorry about that. Here is nothing about fear of machine. So I will let color this particular thing blue. Okay, so C answer is done. Okay, moving to the next paragraph. In response to the second question, how soon will machine intelligence outstrip human intelligence? So in this particular paragraph, we will read about machine becoming more intelligent than humans. Let's see if we find any answers regarding any questions. Rees mentions, so here is the name of the author. Rees mentions robots that are advanced enough to beat humans at chess, but then goes on to say robots are still limited in their ability to sense their environment. So he is saying that this person is saying that robots are still limited in their ability to sense their environment. They can't yet recognize and move the pieces on a real chessboard as cleverly as a child can. Later this century, however, their more advanced successors may relate to their surroundings and to people as adeptly as we do. Basically, this person is trying to say that now robots are just like machines. Robots, they do not have their own intelligence, their own brain, their own willpower, but in later in this century, in the coming years, maybe they will have awareness about their surroundings, like how to talk with people on their own, whether to talk or whether to get angry with someone or not, if whether they will develop emotions or not, some things like that. Okay, moral questions then arise. Should we feel guilty about exploiting sophisticated robots? Should we fret if they are underemployed, frustrated, or bored? So then there are some moral questions. Then we have to encounter or answer that. Should we feel guilty about exploiting, we need to say taking undue advantage of sophisticated robots. Should we fret, meaning to say be afraid if they are underemployed, frustrated, or bored? Because robots obviously will be able to easily overpower us, no matter how big, how strong we are. Robots, machines, we cannot compare to their power. So, sorry about that. Can you identify any answers? Let's see. For our own safety, humans will need to restrict the ability of robots. So we are trying to see this. So do you think this is their answer or to this? No, I don't think so. 28. The risk of robots harming us is less serious than humans believe it to be. There is no mention of that. It will take many decades for robot intelligence to be as imaginative as human intelligence. Can it be the answer? Yes, tell me. No. Reason being, here they are not saying that robots will become equal to humans. They are just saying they can become as clever, they can move pieces as cleverly as child can, and later their mood may relate to their surrounding and to people as adeptly as we do. Okay, but whether their imagination will be equal to us, we don't know about that right now. 30th, we may have to start considering whether we are treating robots fairly. Can you find this location? Yes. Here it is. Should we feel guilty about exploiting sophisticated robots? So these are the moral questions. Okay. So we should do. Should we consider? And this is a question mark. Basically, let me do this. So this is our question number 30th. Hope it is clear. Let me just do this. Okay. After that, the ideas in high quality. Okay, we have done this. And it is Rees and Wolpert share an opinion about whether there is any opinion in this particular thing. We have to like see robots to explore outer space. Was there anything? Robots are still limited in their ability to sense their environment, yet they can't recognize. They can't yet recognize. There is nothing about explore out advances made in machines so far. Yes, sorry about that. Yes, here it is. Robots are still limited in their ability to sense the environment. They can't yet recognize and move pieces. This later on they can do this. So what are the advances? These are the like advances that have been made in the field of robotics. Like they can move chess, they can play chess. Okay, okay. Sorry about that. It is here also, either here or you can mark here. So this is the advancement he is talking about. So here there is room of improvement, but advances so far is this. So it is our question 35. So the answer to this could be B. Sorry about that, I have to do this. B. So this is Rees. So we have understood that Rees is saying this, but we have to see whether Wolpert 35. Wolpert agrees with this particular point of view or not. Okay, so we have to write question 35, 1 of 2. So let me do this. Okay, so I have found one. So I have to find Wolpert. What is his opinion on this? So if the opinion agrees, so we will see B is our answer. And Rees in this Richardson cause of concern, there is no mention of any cause of concern. So we will deal with these paragraphs afterwards. Okay, these questions. Okay, there is no cause of concern, so we will move forward to the next question, next paragraph. Wolpert responds to the question about machine intelligence. So here is about Wolpert. Outstripping human intelligence was this. In a limited sense, it already has. So if they talk about machines in the limited sense, it already has. Machines can already navigate, remember, and search for items with an ability that far outstrips humans. So the advancements made so far. So this is our location of this particular answer. So now we can surely say that, sorry about that, we can surely say B is our answer. Here C is our answer. Now we can also say B is our answer. Clear? Now either A or C will be the answer of 36, obviously. However, there is no machine that can identify visual objects or speech with the reliability and flexibility of humans. Expecting a machine close to creative intelligence of humans within next 50 years would be highly ambitious. So he's saying that if we are expecting machines that can match the intelligence of humans within next 50 years, it would be ambitious. So does this ring any bells? I will give you 5 seconds. If you can find out the answer, let me mark this. I don't know what's with this mouse. Let me mark this. Yes, time's up. This is the answer of question number. Okay, first question, for own safety, humans will need to restrict abilities of robots. No, there is no mention of that. Second question, the risk of robots harming us is less serious than humans believe to be. No, it may take many decades for robot intelligence to be as imaginative as human intelligence. So, obviously, here is imaginative. Here is written creative intelligence. Creative meaning to say imaginative. So, this is the answer of question number 29. So who is saying Wolpert? And Wolpert is B. So, and let's see if we can find anything else. Wolpert disagrees with Richardson on the question of. So there is no disagreement here. Wolpert, science fiction. There is no science fiction mentioned here. Next paragraph. Richardson believes that our fear of machines becoming too advanced has more to do with human nature than anything intrinsic to machines themselves. In her view, it stems from human tendency to personify inanimate objects. We create machines based on our representations of ourselves. Imagine that. Okay, machines think and behave as we do and therefore see them as an autonomous threat. One of the consequences of thinking that the problem lies with machines is that we tend to imagine they are greater and more powerful than they really are, and subsequently they become so. So in this day, this person is saying, she is saying that we are making machines in our head bigger threat than they really are. Like in humans we have the ability to personify inanimate objects. Okay, here it was written, personify inanimate objects. Okay, we create fear out of nothing, something like that. So can you identify? Hope you can figure out the answer. I will give you few seconds to identify the answer, and your time starts now. Time's up. So this is the location. So one of the consequences, we tend to imagine they are greater than they really are. So for our own safety, we will need to restrict abilities of robots. No, the risk of robots is less serious than humans believe it to be. Yes, this is our answer, because we are making it a bigger threat than it really is. So this is saying by Richardson. So Richardson, C option. So which one? 28th. So this is C option. I hope it is clear. Let me write here also. So fear of machines. I have read this word. Let me see. Richardson disagrees. Robots to explore outer space, to harm intelligence. Fear of machines. Yes, I believe I thought I have read this. Yes. So now we will do is we will read these options or we will come to this particular question afterwards. Okay, so we will not overwhelm ourselves. What I can do is I can read these options and then mark the option correct option. But if you think it is a bit overwhelming because every question is getting jumbled up, you can leave it for later. We will leave it for later. Okay, but if you want to do so, pause the video, be my guest, pause the video and match which option do you think should be the answer, and when we will do it later you can verify it. But right now we won't like overwhelm ourselves. We'll keep it simple to these two sets. Okay, this led to the third question. Should we be scared by advances in artificial intelligence? Okay, now it's something about advancements in technology. To this question, Rees replied, those who should be worried are the futurologists who believe in the so-called singularity. So what is singularity? Singularity, the point when robots will be able to start creating ever more sophisticated versions of themselves. So basically robots creating better versions of themselves. So these kind of people should be worried about. Not all people should be worried about machines. And another worry, so there is another like concern, negative problem, whatever you want to say, is that we are increasingly dependent on computer networks and that these could behave like a single brain with a mind of its own and with goals that may be contrary to human welfare. I think we should ensure that robots remain as no more than idiot savants lacking the capacity to outwit us, even though they may greatly surpass us in the ability to calculate and process information. So, this person is saying that we should try to restrict robots so that they remain no more than obedient servants. Servants basically meaning to say your servants. Uh, or intelligent servant, something like that, lacking the capacity to outwit us. They should not be able to fool us, even though they will be superior to us in the matters of calculations and processing information, doing calculations and processing information, but they should not outwit us in other fields. So which question do you think is the answer? You have some seconds. Time's up. Answer is question number 27. So Reese A option. So 27th, our answer is A. So clearly they are saying that we should restrict robots for our own safety. So they should not outwit us. Because of our own safety, we should restrict their abilities. We should not let them have a free hand or give them a free hand. I hope it is clear. Okay, let's see second set Rees. So we have done about Rees. So we have to do Wolpert and Richardson. Okay, just let me look at this question so that I can mark the answer if there is an answer. So there is cause of concern. So worry, basically concern. Okay, so this is the paragraph for the 38th question. We'll come to it later. Okay, now moving to the next paragraph. Wolpert's response was to say that we have hardly seen the damaging effects of artificial intelligence in the form of computer viruses. So what Wolpert is saying that the damaging effects of artificial intelligence that we have witnessed is in the form of computer viruses. But in this case, he says the real intelligence is the malicious designer. Just give me a second, guys. Let me drink some water. Okay, let's continue. So even then he says that the real culprit behind is that designer who had malice in his intent. Malicious designer basically malicious basically is a person who has bad intentions. Critically, the benefits of computers outweigh the damage that computer viruses cause. So if we think critically, the benefits that computer brings, they outweigh the negatives. Similarly, while there may be misuses of robotics in the near future, the benefits that they will bring are likely to outweigh these negatives. And similarly, he is saying that the negatives that robots use of robots or AI may have in the near future will be or most probably be outweighed by the positives. So do you think there is any location or any answer in that? Okay, we will read together. So we have 30, 32, 33, 30th. We may have to start considering, haven't we mentioned 30? We may have to start considering whether we're treating robots fairly. So I believe we have done 30th. So what happened? Yes, we have done 30th. Okay. Did I miss something? 30th question. Rees, A option. So how come we missed it? So sorry about that, guys. So we have done 30th. So I don't know. Did I write something wrong? For our own safety, we need humans. Rees, believe abilities to restrict robots. 27. Let me mark this. Yes, we saying this. See the risk of serious than human. Believe it to be. Yes, Richardson. C option. It will take many decades. So here was something about 50 years or something like that. Expecting 29th question. It is who is saying? Wolpert is saying this. Wolpert is B option. We may A option robots B. Robots 31st question. Yes, Daniel Wolpert. Okay, so I must have missed it. Sorry about that. You guys may be screaming at the screen that you missed the particular question. So it happens because I am trying to do a lot of things at once. So sometimes things like this happen. So it's not a big deal. So moving forward to 32nd question. So we were reading this paragraph. That robot intelligence positive outweigh negative. Basically, let's see if there is any Volput here. 32nd and 33rd question. The ideas in high quality science fiction may prove there is no mention about movies. These are those who look forward to robots developing greater intelligence. There is again no mention of such people that they are like looking forward to robots or greater intelligence or intelligent robots. So we'll move forward from this. Okay, just let me. Okay, here is Richardson. Richardson's response to this question was, we need to ask why fears of artificial intelligence and robots persist. None have in fact risen up and challenged human supremacy. So she's saying that we need to ask why are we afraid of robots or artificial intelligence when in fact none of those have like risen up, stood up and challenged humans. She believes that as robots have never shown themselves to be a threat to humans, it is it seems unlikely that they ever will. In fact, she went on, not all fear, many people welcome machine intelligence. So She says that not all people fear robots, many people welcome machine intelligence. So, can you see if there is any of these two? We can match any like C or C in these two. Yes, from here we can safely say that this is, you have some time until I write the question number. This is question number times up 33. So I will just explain to you if you haven't figured it out. Kathleen Richardson, C option. So why this is the answer? Because in this statement is saying there are those, meaning to say there are those people who are looking forward to developing greater intelligence. So many people, basically some people fear, not all, but not all. Some fear, but not all, and many are many welcome or many are optimistic about machine intelligence. So they welcome whatever the developments there are or there will be in this particular field. Okay, moving on to the fourth answer to the fourth question. Let's see if there is like Wolpert and Richardson. So there is any disagreement. So he is saying benefits outweigh the negative. Okay, disagreement, and she's saying that uh, never shown harm to themselves, they have computer viruses in them. Okay, we'll deal with it later. We will just first deal with this, then we will deal with the other questions. The idea of science fiction. So because this paragraph, the answer, in answer to the fourth question, what can science fiction tell us about robotics? So basically this, there will be our answer to this. Rees replied, I sometimes advise students that it's better to read first-rate science fiction than second-rate science, more stimulating and perhaps no more likely to be wrong. So the ideas in high-quality science fiction may prove just as accurate as those found in mediocre science text. So do you think this is the answer or this is not the answer? Yes, this is the answer. I'll tell you why. Just let me mark it first. Otherwise, okay, sorry about that. I may forget marking it. This is our question number 32. And who this person is saying? Which expert? Rees. So here there's the question is saying that the idea is that high quality science fiction is just as accurate as those found in mediocre scientists. So I sometimes advise students that it's better to read science fiction. So science fiction, high quality, first rate, high quality meaning to say first rate science fiction, then second rate science, mediocre science, work of mediocre scientists, basically reading so those articles which are written by mediocre or scientists that do not search thoroughly or do not do proper research, something like that, because that article novel or that read will be more stimulating and perhaps no more likely to be wrong. No more likely to be wrong meaning to say as wrong as the work of mediocre scientists, so as accurate as those. Okay, hopefully it is clear. We have solved all the questions 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So we have solved all these questions. Now we'll do this. As his response, Wolpert commented science fiction. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at these. Wolpert disagrees with Richardson on the question of. We're gonna see on what question or on what particular point these both experts disagreed. So Richardson, here is Rees. The question was created by artificial intelligence. So Wolpert's response was that we have already seen damaging effect of artificial intelligence in the form of computer virus. So this person is saying that we have already seen the damaging effect of computer virus. So let me copy this so that I can easily mark and make you understand. Okay, I'll copy this. So where it was, okay, so here why it is, okay, where, okay, so here it is. Here Wolpert is saying that this is question number 36 and this is location number 1. So Wolpert is saying that we have already seen the damaging effect of artificial intelligence, but Richardson is saying, she believes that robots have never shown themselves to be threat to humans. Okay, here is also saying that we need to ask why fear this, because they haven't challenged us or risen up and challenged human supremacy. And she believes robots have never shown themselves to be threat. And Wolpert is saying we have already seen damaging effects. So they are two opposite points. So what should be the answer? A or C? Oh, sorry, A or D? Yes, the answer should be D. I hope it is clear what is happening. Okay, I hope it is clear. Moving to the last MCQs. So now we will do MCQs. We don't have to worry about all the other questions because we have done these. Now we will focus on these. What point does Richardson make about fear of machines? So fear of machines. It has grown alongside the development of ever more advanced robots. Meaning to say, do we fear machines because of the advancement? The fear also grew. It is the result of our inclination to attribute human characteristics to non-human entities, or is it because we try to give human characteristics to inanimate objects, non-human entities like non-living objects? Is it has its origin in basic misunderstandings about how inanimate objects function, or is it because we don't understand how these non-living objects function? It demonstrates a key difference between human intelligence and machine intelligence. Or because of this fear of machine, we are able to tell difference between human and machine intelligence. I don't think so. D can be the answer. But let's read this particular paragraph. Richardson believes that our fear of machines becoming too advanced has more to do with the human nature than anything intrinsic to machines themselves. In her view, it stems from human tendency to personify inanimate objects. We create machines based on our representations of ourselves. Imagine that machine think and behave as we do and therefore see them as an autonomous threat. So because we are personifying this particular thing, that's why we are so afraid of machines. So question number 37. Now you have to tell me the answer. Yes, what is the answer to question number 37? Yes, the answer to the question number 37 is option number B. It is the characteristic, it is the result of our inclination to attribute human characteristics to non-human entities. I hope it is clear. Because A cannot be the answer, because there is nothing mentioned that our fear grew alongside the development of robots. So C cannot be the answer. Let me mark it in red. C cannot be the answer because again there is no mention that we don't understand how these inanimate objects work, and D cannot be the answer because there is no mention of lack of understanding. 38th, what potential advance does Rees see as cause of concern? So what kind of potential advancement that does Rees see as a cause of concern? Like because of that, this person is concerned. So we have, I believe, read here. So to this question, Rees replied, those who should be worried are the futurologists. Okay, first we will do is we will read the our options. Robots outnumbering people, robots having having abilities which humans do not, meaning to say we are afraid because robots have those abilities which we don't possess. Artificial intelligence developing independent thought, or it is a point of concern that if artificially developed independent thought, it may create problems for us. Artificial intelligence taking over every aspect of our lives, or they are overtaking humans in every aspect on every field. Let's see. And another worry is that we are increasingly dependent on computer network and that they could behave like a single brain with mind of its own and with goals that may be contrary to human welfare. So what is that worry? That we are becoming dependent on this. Okay, so this is not the actual worry, and the second point is that these could behave like a single brain with a mind of its own and with goals that may be contrary to human welfare. So they may make such goals that are not in favor of us, that may be against us, like trying to enslave us or things like that. So that's why this person is worried. So robots outnumbering people, there is no mention of this. So sorry about that. There is no mention of robots outnumbering people. Robots abilities which humans don't have. So again in the next paragraph, next point, she is saying that we should restrict their abilities. So right now the robots do not have those abilities which humans have. C, artificial intelligence developing independent thought. Okay, or yeah, or D, artificial intelligence taking over every aspect of our life. Okay, this is not mentioned obviously, so our logical answer to this question should be C. And why is that? It should also be very clear to us. With the mind of its own, independent thought. So if you are independent, if you have independent thoughts, basically you are using your own brain. You are not like listening to other people, or you are not taking decisions that other people tell you. You are using your own brain. That's independent thought. So, and in the paragraph here it is written mind of its own. Clear? Moving to the 39th question, it's about science fiction. So fourth question was this: science fiction. Let me see where it is. Yeah, science fiction. Okay, here is the science fiction. So we are talking about Wolpert. Wolpert, let me do this, and science fiction. So the question is saying, what does Wolpert emphasize in his response to the question about science fiction? Like in his response to the question about science fiction, what does Wolpert emphasize? Okay, what does he focuses on? How science fiction influences our attitude to robots? Does he focuses or does he emphasize that how science fiction influence our attitudes, our view towards robots? How fundamental robots are to the science fiction genre? Or he emphasizing that science robots are quite crucial, or are they are the base point of entire like pivotal point in the science fiction genres? How the image of robots in science fiction has changed over time, like how they were perceived like in the past and now how they are perceived at present, like how the image has changed, whether they were seen as villain in the past and now heroes, or maybe heroes in the past now as villains. So if this is the case, we'll say C option. D. How reactions to similar portrayals of robots in science fiction may vary. So basically, how different science fiction shows robots in different lights. Some show robots as positive heroes, some may show robots as villains. Let's see. Science fiction has often been remarkable at predicting the future. Science fiction has painted a vivid spectrum of possible futures, from cute and helpful robots to dystopian robotic societies. Interestingly, almost no science fiction envisages a future without robots. Envisages basically means predicts a future without robots. So I will give you 5 seconds to tell me the answer. Time starts now. Time's up. And the answer is B option. If you figured it out correctly, congratulations. If you didn't arrive at the correct answer, don't worry, I will tell you why. So here A, there is no mention of influence of science fiction books on human views or human society. So A cannot be our answer. Sorry about that. Let's do this. See how the image of robots in science fiction has changed over time. There is no mention of that we have like painted robot in any other way that we did in the past. So there is no mention of that. D. How reaction to similar portrayals of robots in science fiction may vary, again. No mention of that. So B. Why it is the answer? Here it is written. Almost no science fiction envisages a future without robots. Basically, you cannot make a science fiction movie without putting a robot in it. Without a robot, these movies will not feel like science fiction movies or futuristic movies. So that's why they are fundamental to this particular genre. I hope it is clear. Last question. What is Richardson doing in her comment about reality and fantasy? So we have to find out what is Richardson doing or trying to do or say about in her comment about reality and fantasy. Okay. Finally, on the question of science fiction, Richardson pointed out that in modern society, people tend to think there is reality on one hand and fiction and fantasy on the other. So here is something about reality and fantasy. She then explained that division did not always exist. So what she did was she said this division was not always there, and the scientists and technologists made this separation because they wanted to carve out the sphere of their work. So who created this division? Scientists and technologists. So here could be our answer, but before that, we'll read this and then we will read the option, or we can read the options first so that we can have an like map in our mind what we need to find, or we will read this and then we will read the option. One and the same thing. But the divide is not so clear cut, and that is why the world seems to collide. She said, but she's saying that the division is not that clear cut, so that's why these two words collide at times. So basically, people are not able to tell reality apart from fantasy. This is the basically meaning of this sentence. In some cases, we need to bring these different understandings together to get a whole perspective. And sometimes we have to bring these two different things, reality and fantasy, together, like our imagination combined with reality, to get a new perspective or a whole understanding of that particular thing. Perhaps we won't be so frightened that something we create as a copy of ourselves will be a threat to us, and only then maybe we will not be that afraid that robots will be threat to us. So first option, warning people not to confuse with one with the other. So no, she is not giving any warning. In fact, she is not giving any warning. In fact, she is encouraging people to mix these two things so that you can get a different understanding of, or you can get a whole new perspective of the subject. B option, outlining ways which one has impacted the other. There is no mention of one impact on the other. C, recommending a change of approach in how people view. Or D, explaining why scientists have a different perspective on them from other people. So these two, so here are saying scientists have different perspective. Scientists and technologists made this separation. Basically, they have different perspective. What could be the answer? I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to figure it out, and your time starts now. Time's up. I hope you came up with the right answer, but if you didn't, no problem. The right answer is, let me do this, C option. So this obviously then D option is our incorrect answer. Now why C is correct and D is incorrect? Because in D the option is saying explaining why scientists have a different perspective. In the paragraph it is mentioned that scientists and technologists, basically scientists, have created different perspective, or they have different perspective because they wanted to carve out this, but there is no explanation regarding that. So what's the benefit of this? Why they need different perspective or things like that? They just, and there is the recommendation, in some cases we need to bring these understanding together so that we can have new approach. So change of approach, a whole perspective. So this is our question number 40. Okay, so we have done all the questions. I hope it is clear. There is no doubts in your mind. So even if there are some doubts, because this reading was a bit tricky, because every question contained a name or expert's name in it, and some had two names, like from question number 34 to 36 they had two names in it, so we have to solve for both, like if they both agree or disagree, so the locations were different. So that's why it was a bit tricky passage. a bit overwhelming passage for some, but you do not have to worry about that. If you were not able to grasp everything in the first go by watching the video for the first time, you can always rewatch the video as many times as you like, until or unless you get your answers correct, or you get your doubts cleared. You should rewatch the question or the questions which you were not able to understand, whether it is one question or whether they are 10 or entire passage. So you should rewatch that particular thing. So if you want our help, if you are not able to get your band 7 in your in your writing or speaking, maybe even in reading or listening, band 8 in listening or basically things like that, or it's 777 8 777, you are not able to get those band scores, you are not able to get your all elusive 7 in writing or speaking, we have made one of the most, if not the most extensive course on IELTS. So you can enroll in that course, you can purchase our course, and this course we have discussed in detail how to score 7 or more in your writing and speaking, and what mistakes you may be making that are stopping you from achieving a band 7 or more than that in writing and speaking. So I'm gonna leave the link to our website in the description box. You can contact us there. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.